name is Stephen Sindoni. Thank you for tuning into the broadcast of The Straw Man Revealed. In today's broadcast, I will reveal a great American deception. In 1913, the Federal Reserve was formed. It was at that time that they created a series of 12 independently operated foreign banks, mostly German, Dutch, and French. Once these international banks were set up, they took over the central bank and took over the money supply of the United States. It took exactly 20 years for the Federal Reserve Bank to bankrupt the government of the United States. The bankruptcy of 1933 laid the commercial and economic groundwork for what is happening today. On April 5th of 1933, the United States government officially declared bankruptcy and turned over the control to the privately owned and operated Federal Reserve Bank. The declaration of the United States bankruptcy is as follows. The legal person known as the United States is bankrupt and holds no lawful, constitutionally mandated silver or gold coin or bullion with which to back any currency. All privately held and federally held gold coin and bullion in America will be seized by executive order of April 5, 1933, and paid to the creditor, the private Federal Reserve Corporation, under the terms of the bankruptcy. In May of 1933, the government confiscated everyone's gold. They tricked everyone into thinking that the law applied to all, but the law only applied to anyone living in a 10-mile confine of Washington, D.C., and anyone living in a post office or on a military base. On June 5, 1933, a day that will go down in infamy, House Resolution number 192 was passed into law, stating that the money system of the United States is based on the faith, energy, and spirit of the people of the United States of America. Once the Federal Reserve took over the money supply and commerce, they took everything. They basically enslaved all of us, creating the straw man. What can we do about it? We can start by taking back control of our lives. There are two things that a person has, the first being choice, and the second is control. So what is the difference between choice and control? If you have choice, then you have no control. It is the people who create the choice. Once you understand the system, then you can have control over the straw man, your corporate vessel, and take back your personal sovereignty. This is the key. You have been born into bondage. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave? You have been born into a prison that you cannot see, smell, taste, or touch. It is a prison for your mind. You have been tricked into accepting a false reality. All I am offering is the truth. The information that I'm offering here today is no different than what was presented by Morpheus to Neo in the popular sci-fi movie thriller The Matrix. If you choose to free yourself from enslavement, then take the red pill knowing that once you learn the truth, you can never go back. Or take the blue pill and go back to sleep, and when you wake up, nothing in your life will ever change. It's your choice. For those of you still listening, you have taken the first step towards financial independence. Sit back and buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy. You're not in Kansas anymore. The key to breaking the existing system or the matrix is to learn how the game is being played. The matrix is a system. The system is our enemy. Once inside, what do you see? Look around. Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still part of the system, and that system is our enemy. Many of these people are not ready to be unplugged, and many of them are so unnerved and hopelessly dependent on the system that they will fight to protect it. People will fight to the death to defend their own ignorance. We are survived from hiding from them and running from them. They are the gatekeepers. They are guarding all the doors. They are holding all the keys, which mean that sooner or later someone is going to have to confront them. The rules are designed specifically for commerce, and once you agree to fight by their rules, you will lose. When the Federal Reserve Bank bankrupted the U.S. government, they then owned all the land, all the people, they owned everything, and you became the commercial slave on the plantation. People who fight, when they fight against the IRS and they hold up a piece of paper that says you signed this piece of paper and you volunteered, you lose. Or when you say my property taxes are outrageous, when in fact you didn't own the land that your house is on. Even though you own your own house, you have a certificate of title, you don't have a title. Hence the Supreme Court decision on eminent domain that the state is in fact sovereign and that they in fact own everything. It is exactly like the slaves on the plantation getting upset that the master of the plantation takes 95% of their work. If you were a free man and came onto that plantation and contracted your work out, you would get paid for it. The house that you live in is owned by the plantation owner. Therefore, you can be bought and sold back and forth. Once people get out of the whole mindset and then realize that the idea that they own something within society is false, and that they realize that the government owns everything, only then will they be able to change the system. A good example of this would be if I am Farmer Brown and I wanted to borrow $1 million for my farm. I would ask Mr. Jones to borrow $1 million. You, being the banker, would say, what are you offering us as collateral? And I would say, I own 10,000 cows and certificates of birth on all of these cows. They were born on my farm. Here is the tag on their ears. Here are their social security numbers that show that I own these cows. Then you, being the banker, would now say, okay, based on future performance, which is the legal term that cows are going to give milk or have more cows, I will lend you the $1 million. What happens now is the federal government goes to the Federal Reserve Bank, the private company made up of 12 banks, mostly European, and then they say, we would like to borrow $1 billion, please. The Federal Reserve Bank then asks, what do you have as collateral? Well, we've got 300 million people here. Here's their birth certificates, their social security numbers. Here is the fact that we own all these people as collateral. Therefore, based on this fact that we own all these people and that they will perform in the future and have signed a series of documents that say they will continue to get up and move their arms and legs and sweat and bleed for us, we would like $1 billion from you. Based on this fact, we own all of these slaves on the plantation. And then the Federal Reserve Bank says, here's your $1 billion. Then what the Federal Reserve really does is sprinkle magic fairy dust on a money tree out back and just print it up. And that is what they have the right to do under the 16th Amendment, Federal Reserve and income tax. Then they loan the government money, so the system is all based on collateral. I'd like to make a point here. When you kill civilians, example in the Iraqi war, it's called collateral damage. Why? Because you are damaging collateral. This is why they say only take out military targets. Don't harm the civilians, because civilians are in fact collateral for debt. Are you beginning to get the big picture? In my next broadcast, I will begin to share with you the remedy in breaking the back of the straw man and taking back your personal sovereignty. Thank you for listening to The Straw Man Revealed.